big problem.
Okay.
Firstly, we have been working overtime for 2 months straight, coming in early and after working hours, where we're supposed to be cut off at 5 o'clock.
All right.
Secondly, there is no provisions in the factory that we work for where safety is implemented. We have been getting minor injuries. You as an employer, if one of your employees get hurt in a major accident, there is no benefits that you guys offer us. There is no incentives. There is nothing that protects us as employees. We demand structures being put into place, or we as employees of your company are going to embark on industrial action.
Okay. I need you guys to calm down. I understand that you guys are facing some difficulties and there's a lot of challenges and changes happening in the company right now, which is why you guys are being tested at the moment.
What about us?
I can assure you that we are focusing on dealing with all of those matters, but there are proper channels and places that you guys can go to go and voice out your concerns. So
We've been trying.
I understand that, but this is not a professional way of doing it. We cannot solve issues like this. So I request that you guys go to your union or the CCMA, and then we'll take it from there.
There are proper actions that need to be in place. You said we need to follow proper channels.
Yes.
Wait, you said we need to follow proper
then
channels,
you are allowed
but
to
you
go.
didn't follow proper
You
channels
are.
in informing us that there are changes being made in the organization.
If you stayed in touch
If you
with
were
your-
if you informed us, we wouldn't be here. We would not be here.
Okay, now I request that you guys leave my office, because as I've explained, there's every right way of doing the right thing, and this is not it, so I cannot help you.
In today's world, we need to arm ourselves with as much information regarding our rights and employee rights. Every employee is entitled to fair labor practices which are in line with the South African laws. Labor law regulates the relationship between employers, employees, and trade unions. These laws ensure that no one is exploited and that there is fair and legal practice in the workplace. The purpose of this training program is to educate employees on labor laws in the workplace, specifically focusing on the new amendments made to existing laws and an introduction of a new law, which is the National Minimum Wage Act.
William, were you able to get the money? I told you this was supposed to be
Sorry,
2.5
sir.
million. Yes?
Mr. Kagaya is here to see you, and I told him that you're busy and he doesn't understand.
Okay. So,
Afternoon, sir.
yeah.
Sir, I'm not really happy with the salary and that I'm getting paid. The amount, I'm not really happy with the amount.
Mr. Tagaya, we talked about this in the last month, and still we are showing you the same figures. Yeah, Mr. Tagaya, I'm busy. Can you please come back maybe after 2 hours and we're going to talk about this, sir?
But sir, I need
Sir,
this money.
please, I'm busy. Thank you.
The National Minimum Wage Act aims to provide for composition and function of the National Minimum Wage Commission, which was introduced in 2019. The National Minimum Wage is set at 20 Rand an hour for each ordinary hour worked. However, there are certain exceptions. The exception process is specifically created for employees who can show they cannot afford to pay the minimum wage. The exception will only be granted if the following criteria are satisfied. If the employee cannot pay the minimum wage because the business is not profitable, to ensure that the business is accepted, they need to submit financial and organizational information. Farm workers are entitled to 18 Rand per hour, domestic workers are entitled to 15 Rand per hour. Employers on expanded work programs are entitled to a minimum of 11 Rand per hour.
Parental leave relates to the birth of a child, which entitles the employee, who is the parent of the child, to 10 consecutive days leave, which can be taken from the day on which the child is born, or on the date on which the adoption order is granted, or on such day the child is placed with prospective adoptive parents, pending the finalization of the adoption order. Adoption leave relates to an employee who is an adoptive parent of a child who is below the age of 2 years. This entitles the employee to 10 consecutive weeks of adoption leave. This can be taken from the date on which the adoption order is granted, or on such day that the child is placed with the prospective adoptive parent, pending the finalization of the adoptive order. In respect of two parents, one parent is entitled to adoption leave and the other is entitled to parental leave. Commissioning parental leave relates to an employee who is a commissioning parent in a surrogate motherhood agreement and is entitled to 10 consecutive weeks of commissioning parental leave. Commissioning parental leave can be taken from the date on which the child is born.
Employees have the right to be protected in any work environment. These rights include working hours, lunch and leave breaks, as well as working in a healthy environment. In South Africa, the Occupational Health and Safety Act and the Compensation for Injuries and Diseases Act are examples of acts that protect employees. Employees are the backbone of any organization. It is important that employees know their workplace rights so that they may ensure that their work environment is safe and healthy, to ensure that they do not fall victim to discrimination, and lastly, to ensure that they receive all their entitlements in terms of pay and working conditions.
The employees will better understand their rights in labor affairs and the employer's legal obligations to them as employees. For an example, the amount of working hours that a person is required to work each week and the amount of rest a person is given each time. By the end of this training program, your employees will have a basic understanding and knowledge of the labor relations laws of South Africa, such as the Basic Conditions of Employment Act and the National Minimum Wage Act, which have an influence in the employment relationship. The trainees will be able to identify fair labor practices, thus understanding their role in the work environment, and be equipped with knowledge of platforms such as the CCMA, which exist to resolve labor disputes. And finally, the employees will be able to have knowledge of the protocols and the policies that regulate the employment relationship.